Welcome back. You're watching The Market here on ET Now, and joining us in the studio, as always, is Kunal Bothra to talk to us about what he's seeing or expecting from the index today. First off, Kunal, what are you expecting on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty?
Frankly, nothing much. I'm expecting the markets to be a little bit more ranged. I mean, less range than yesterday. Maybe yesterday was a 100 point, 150 point range for the index. Today, I'm expecting less than 100 point range for the Nifty because of what's happened across the globe. The selling pressure across the global markets, at least in the US markets yesterday, was still on the higher side. You saw the Dow, I think, closing at almost 400 to 450 points on the negative side. So that would probably have some bit of effect going into our markets. There is a tepid bounce across the Asian indices, so maybe that could keep the bounce under check for many of the other emerging markets as such. For our markets, from yesterday's data perspective, 2.5% drop in the open interest on the Nifty yesterday, 1.5, 1.4% on the Bank Nifty. The put call ratios struggling to cross that level of 1. I think all of that data points would keep the markets under a little bit of a check. And the fact that we are at 26,000 mark, we are consolidating at those levels, could probably be one of the other reasons why I would believe that we may get into a range bound action. Unless we break below 24,750 mark on the downside, 25,750 mark, beg pardon, on the downside, I don't see any materialistic trend emerging on the indices, but broadly a range bound action.
Kunal, we saw a lot of long unwinding happening yesterday. Means in Nifty, we saw that where we saw the open interest come down by nearly 1,400 odd crores, which is there. But in large cap stocks also and private sector banks, we saw a lot of unwinding happening. What is it suggesting in that sense? And if you look at the breakup, because NSE gives you a breakup between FIs and clients and DIs, it's the client side which is unwinding a lot of long positions.
See, there are two things which can happen, Sajid. One is because we are 1 week into the expiry, the monthly expiry, that's on 25th November. So maybe because of that, the unwinding starts off, because it's not the usual phenomena of a Thursday expiry where you start off on Monday and then you wait for Thursday to unwind your entire positions. Since yesterday was Tuesday, you have another 3 or 4 trading sessions only. So you don't want to run the risk of going into Monday, which is after the weekend holiday. So going into that kind of a day and then trying to unwind the position. So the mild unwinding starts off T minus 4, T minus 5, and then the pace accelerates. Now, we look at this in the context of the premiums expanding or contracting to give a better judge whether this was just a one index, one expiry unwinding, and the other expiry we see the positions
adding on.
So we judge that by the premium and the discount for the index. No major change which happened yesterday. In fact, just to give an example, yesterday the Nifty premium started off at 36, 37 points, and we jumped up to 44, 45 points by the end of the day because there was a mild recovery. So again, no major change in terms of the premium on the benchmark index, which is a reflection of what could have happened across the stocks. I believe that the major cues which happens, once the index breaks below support levels. For example, for the Bank Nifty, it's around 58,200 levels. We are almost 700 points higher than those zones, and for Nifty, it's 25,750 mark. The unwinding pressure accelerates or gets into a direction when the index breaks a particular support. Till that time, it will just be maybe churning of positions from maybe one expiry to the other expiry.
Okay. And how do you look at some of the private banks yesterday, given the fact that they were muted in that sense?
Yeah, so I think except for Axis Bank yesterday, hardly any major price action across the other private sector banking names. I think largely Axis was one of the top performers. You saw Kotak Bank trying to recover from that 2075-85 low the stock had hit yesterday. HDFC Bank had a good start towards the first half of the day, but in the second half the stock again managed to succumb under slight bit of selling pressure to close almost flattish. ICICI Bank has been an underperformer as such, so that stock continues to struggle at 1370s, 80s mark thereabouts. So I would probably expect that it could be a mixed price action yet again on the private sector banking names. You're not seeing any major flows emerging, and historically also, whether you start off from the August series, September series, major moves generally start off after a fresh expiry. So the end of the expiry is generally where traders would want to close the positions. Maybe if there was extreme amount of shorts, you would want to close that, and if there was extreme amount of longs on a particular sector, then traders want to close the positions on or generally on the expiry day. And the start of the fresh expiry is where I would believe that fresh trends start off for underperforming sectors. So which means another 3 or 4 days, I am expecting more of a flattish action within the private sector banking names.
So Kunal, what stock-specific bias would you have? Because yesterday it was really about the momentum plays.
Yeah, so and now the markets are getting a lot more specific towards mid caps and specific names. So I'm concentrating on those kind of aspects. Hoodco is something which I recommended yesterday, done phenomenally well. Yesterday at one point the stock was up 3 or 4%. So maintaining the buy on Hoodco, targets remain the same at 250. For traders who are looking at a fresh buy at current levels, keep 238 as a trailing stop loss. The second is about Bharti Hexa, again a very interesting chart. The stock taking very good support at the 1800 levels, which has now become a swing support for Bharti Hexa over the near term. Strong volumes, excellent candlestick pattern which was seen yesterday. So expecting a follow through up move, 1880 as a target for Bharti Hexa and stop loss at 1800.
Okay, that said, let's also address all the stocks and news rather this morning. And Ashesha is here with the list of the same. Ashesha?
Hi Aisha, morning. And first up, let's talk about Mahanagar Gas and a big respite that has come in because the company has now said that they've restored CNG supply across all stations in Mumbai. So on the back of this, Mahanagar Gas will be in focus today. GR Infra Projects, meanwhile, they've won an order from Western Railway to the tune of about 262 odd crores. So positive news flow coming in for this counter. KEC International, remember the stock was in focus for the last several trading sessions. They had won some orders worth over 1,000 crores, but now negative news flow has come in for KEC International, where they have been barred from applying for tenders that have been given by Power Grid. This is for a period of 9 months. The company, however, has said that they will file an appeal with Power Grid to reconsider their decision. But for now, this is a negative news flow. KEC International perhaps could see some bit of selling on the back of this. RPSG Ventures, on the back of an acquisition where the company has now expanded into luxury fashion segment by acquiring 40% stake in FSP Design. This has been done at an enterprise value of about 455 crore, and the company also has the option to buy additional 10% stake in the company within a period of next 18 to 24 months. So entry into a new segment led by this acquisition, keep an eye out on this counter as well. Textile stocks, the entire sector will be buzzing in trade on the back of Textile Ministry's approval for PLI scheme, where they've gone ahead and said that they've approved 17 new applicants under PLI scheme for textiles. This is to boost man-made fiber, apparel, MMF fabrics and technical fiber sectors in India. So the entire sector will be buzzing on the back of this. Lastly, FMCG major HUL, on the back of record date being fixed by the board. The record date is 5th of December. This is for ice cream business spin-off. Perhaps some procedural announcements coming in, but the record date has now been fixed. Keep an eye out on this FMCG major as well.
Thanks, Ashisha, for this. So basically, you'll have another special trading session where the entire spin-off will happen. It's a 1:1 ratio for all the shareholders of HUL there. But listing today is going to be interesting. Tenneco Air Cleaning. 62 times this.
Tenneco Clean Air.
Clean Air, okay. Clean Air. It's an auto parts maker involved in, making exhausts for all the vehicles there, and 62 times it got subscribed. The price was roughly around 397, 3,600 crore issue, and the expected listing price is close to 500 rupees, 25% premium to the listing price. So it's going to be.
Which will mean it will become a 20,000 crore company in terms of market cap.
Market cap.
And will trade roughly at 30 times.
30 times.
If it were to play out.
Yeah.
Roughly. I'll pull out the exact number.
Yeah, but Aisha, we're seeing a lot of mutual fund activity coming into the primary market, especially shares which are getting listed. We're still seeing a good demand for Grow. We saw Physics Wala seeing a high,
In fact,
stock
Physics
delivery.
Wala was quite a surprise, because irrespective of what the grey market premium was indicating,
it went
the listing was much better than that.
And that was primarily because of the liquidity squeeze which is there in that thing, because the stocks are held by the anchor investors, and there is a lot of lock-in which is there in and mostly the end company is held by the promoters. So there's not much liquidity which is going to come in. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to see some kind of liquidity squeeze leading to a price increase and increased action from the mutual funds.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That's, of course, Tenneco Clean Air, which is going to be listing today. And, of course, we're going to keep a close eye on whether Physics Wala continues its gains from yesterday. But Shrishti is here to also talk about some of the other newsmakers today. Shrishti?
Well, yes, firstly, let's talk about Azad Engineering. A very positive news flow coming in for this particular counter, as they say that they have signed an agreement with Pratt & Whitney Canada for the development of aircraft engine components. So indeed, a positive news flow coming in for Azad Engineering. Let's watch out for that. Other than this, Infosys will be in focus as well, because just a couple of days back, we had that record date for the buyback. The company has announced that now the buyback will be open from November 20th to November 26th. NSDL is also going to be in focus on the back of a negative news flow, where they say that they have got a warning letter from SEBI for non-compliance of the disclosure norm. So let's watch out for this. And NTPC Green will be in focus as well on the back of a positive news flow, where they say that they have actually gone ahead and commissioned additional capacity in their Khandwa solar PV project, and now with this the total commission capacity now stands at close to 7,639 megawatts. Other than that, CAMS will be in focus as well, because it's going to be their first ever stock split, and for that the record date is 5 December, where the stock split will happen in the ratio of 1:5. And let's talk about Choice International. A positive news flow coming in here as well, where the company says that the Choice Consultancy Services has acquired 100% of Iolesa Consultants, adding more than 200 crores of live orders plus 200 plus of engineers team in their overall team size. And lastly, TCS will be in focus as well, as one of the logistics global major, that is NHS Supply Chain, has selected TCS to transform the healthcare delivery using the AI and cloud in the 5-year deal. So these are some of the counters that we will be watching. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Srishti, for coming in and giving us those